Hey everybody, this is Ray Flip, television beat writer for Bleeding Cool, and on a side note, this is one of those nights where I'm kind of glad I don't hit record 15 seconds earlier, because wow, some of the stuff that gets said. But anywho, hi, I'm here to do our weekly recap review of Freeform's Siren, the mermaid fantasy series that we've been covering this season so far, new series, and we're actually going to be taking a look at the 6th episode, Showdown. And we've had a really good run so far of episodes. Not going to say that this isn't a good episode tonight. It's a solid episode, probably the best way for me to put it. One or two question marks I have in common sense decision making. It does a really good job in moving the conspiracy theories forward and really getting us moving to what I feel like is going to be that big end of the season confrontation. But yeah, again, good, solid. Not all of them can be home runs, but I would say this is a good to very good episode. But let's get you caught up to speed. I have my handy dandy little notes off to the side here. So we begin with Donna, who is at the Powell Seafood Industries looking to feed and looking around. At the same time, while all this is going on, Donna's in Ben's dad's office and sees a picture of Ben. So of course this starts getting Donna thinking, okay, Ben clearly is somebody I don't think I can trust. All this is going on. Decker is also there, also looking to do a little tracking down and see what's going on with his lost lab experiment creature. So we see now that everybody's in the same vicinity, how close this is all going to start to kind of come together. We then get a situation where we meet up with Rena, Maddie, and Ben. And Rin essentially is telling Maddie and Ben the story of her and Donna and how after their mother passed, Donna was the mother figure to Rin. So it kind of establishes the connection that they have. But there's also a very interesting scene where we see Rin is starting to connect on a very strong level with the humans that she interacts with. We saw that previous episodes with Maddie. We see this episode with Ben, with the kiss, and with the I love you. And it's very, very interesting to see where this is going to go. I still think this somehow ties into the whole Helen thing, which again, at this point we find out that Helen is still harboring Donna. We know that our main assumption is that Helen was a mermaid and she's no longer a mermaid. Again, I think there's a little bit more going on in that regard, or that aspect, but we get a confirmation that, again, that Helen is definitely a pro-mermaid, safe harbor place for Donna, and also for Rin, if it turns out to be that way too. We get Donna and we get Rin meeting up, and again, it's very interesting the way they kind of bestial National Geographic do the circling around. Again, I think showing even in their surface form, they're still fighting survival instinct to, always be ready for that fight. So I thought that was really interesting. There's a sweet moment where we see Rin place her head on Donna's shoulder as a way of just trying to get them to stop fighting and for all this stuff from going on. But Donna, rightfully so, we got to say at this point, because everything she's been through, is looking a little skeptical. And again, you can't blame her. We then have a moment where Xander and Curtis Calvin, I'm going to go call him Curtis Calvin. I think you guys know my perpetual problem that I have clearly going on up here with remembering that name. But at least Xander and the guy with the two names are kind enough to give Ben a heads up about Decker, which leads them to looking into his background. And also we start hearing about, again, talking about the song of the mermaid. And Ben starts relating about how he heard it back, I don't know, we're not going to use Bristol Cove time, but we'll say back in the beginning of our season, and the drug-like, hallucinatory effect it has upon the person who hears it. So I thought, again, very, very interesting. So now we have a number of forces that are starting to collide. We've got Donna and Rin back together. We know Decker and Donna are in their own vicinity now. Ben and Decker are slowly getting onto each other's radar, which leads us to the fundraiser. Big fundraiser that's being held by that big fundraising person that is Ben's mom. Don't know why I'm waving my hands like that, like I'm Chris Angel or something. That's kind of weird. But yeah, Decker's there, and Decker, of course, is just winning over Elaine with talk about, this mysterious, the cell research he's doing with his mysterious sea creature, and doing these things essentially to kind of jab and jibe at Ben. Of course, Ben then kind of responds, talking about the whole concept of the song and everything else. So we see there's a very little interesting back and forth that's going on, and we get confirmation, as we will get further along, about the government's plan to kind of drive them up to the surface and then just kind of, I guess, skim surface and take them to their containment facilities, as horrible, just maniacal government conspiracies tend to do. So again, it's pretty much nice to have confirmation on that. Outside, we have a confrontation between Xander and Decker, and this is again where I kind of go the lapse in logic, because one, I don't know where oh, watch my language there. I don't know where Xander's coming from in regards to being. I mean, really, you've got the patrons, you've got Ben, yes, you've got Maddie, you got the patrons of Bristol Cove. Decker's still rolling hard with government, and he's not just rolling hard with government. He's rolling hard with government conspiracy. So they get to do things and then pretend like it didn't even happen. So in one of those instances, I was like, this is just kind of brave bravado. Again, does this kind of weird thing always come with characters named Xander? Again, I'm doing a Buffy little flashback in case you're wondering on that one. We then cut to Rin and Donna, and I think it's a very important moment when Donna explains to Rin exactly why she feels the way she does. You know, Donna doesn't have that feeling that Rin has, where Rin can see the difference between good humans and bad humans. To Donna, they are all bad humans, because that's all she's been experiencing. Rightfully so. I mean, when your biggest claim to fame being above water is that you're a lab experiment in a military complex, it's not going to do a lot to your demeanor towards humankind. It just really isn't going to do it. And I thought it was very interesting when you see Rin making kind of like that mermaid blood oath of like, look, I'm going to hunt whoever I got to hunt around here to make them pay for what they did to my sister. So it's like, oh, okay. So again, that whole feral aspect that we see under the water doesn't really change dramatically much when they're above water. Again, another aspect that I'm really liking about the series. I really, really do like the way they portray that. We see Ben and Decker outside from the fundraiser, and both of them hear the song of the Siren. And it just obviously... it just attracts them and gets them running off to the woods. Decker was running off to the woods, as does Ben and Maddie, to find out where the source of the singing has come from. Decker ends up running into Donna, and Decker, and I think he thinks is a brilliant move, tries to convince Donna to essentially come back to him, and he will treat her right and treat her proper, blah, blah, blah. That is, again, one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And for a scientist who really is kind of giving mermaids credit and what they have going and everything, it just didn't seem like a really smart move for a guy we think is pretty smart. Like, really, she's just going to, oh, okay, well, as long as you promise you're not going to do anything to me this time, yeah, I'll go back with you, sure. Let me drive. Sure, I'll cover. That's just not going to happen. And lo and behold, it doesn't. But again, it's not so much even Donna you got to worry about. It's Rin. Because Rin... again, we got Decker by the throat, being threatened that he's going to get killed if he doesn't call off the government plan. Unfortunately, it's too late because the government plan is already underway, and I don't even think Decker realizes he doesn't even have that kind of stroke of the government. I think the government's just pretty much using him for the scientific aspects. They'll cut him loose the moment he becomes a problem. I think we all see that coming. But it ends up running into another conflict. First, Rin is insulted because Ben tries to stop her. And as far as Rin sees it, Ben, why are you protecting Decker? But Ben's doing it more out of a morality standpoint. So you've got Rin, Donna now on the run. They're ready to go. But again, Rin can't keep from this feeling of like, look, Donna, we got to know the difference between the good humans and the bad humans. And Donna's just really not looking to waste a lot of time to differentiate between the two. So that, again, leads to another conflict that gets them separated. Now, Donna's able to make it into the water. She's able to escape away, even though Xander goes, running after her and decides to start trailing her. Again, I don't think it's the greatest logical thing in the world. But we are left with a big, huge, wow, what's going to happen moment, because Rin doesn't make it, which in a lot of ways I think is kind of good, but I just don't think her being in the clutches of the police is going to be a particularly good idea. However, it is going to lead to, I think, some very interesting interrogation scenes next episode. So again, I think it leads us in a very good point. Great fun cliffhanger. Kept a lot of the mythology going. I think we saw some nice face-offs, some nice little chess matches being played. Some questionable logic, yes, I would definitely say that. But again, a good, solid, decent, strong outing that I think keeps the series rolling along. This is technically the 6th episode. I don't think I need to tell you guys by any shock of imagination. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the series, so we will clearly keep going with this.